something I have to consider one of the bigger mistakes, in my opinion, to come from LEGO, from Bionicle, are some specific pieces that were introduced in 2006. To call them pieces might be a bit of a stretch because they never came in any canister Bionicle set. They came on a canister Bionicle set. And these pieces are the Paraka masks. These are really bizarre pieces for a number of reasons. For one thing, many of them do have a part number, sort of. They have a number going across the inside. Whether or not LEGO used that number internally, I don't know. But it is kind of wild that it's there either way. And especially wild because I've also seen these floating around in the knockoff community, because of course there are knockoff brands that also created Paraka of their own. And one that I find quite fascinating is this one right here. I don't know the brand specifically, and this picture is actually posted on the Discord server, link in the description. But these mask pieces, these Paraka mask pieces, are actually ones that were affixed to their canisters, but rather than being in color, they're in flat gold, and they have axle connections for masks. Why did LEGO not do this? Here's the thing. This is already a pre-molded piece of plastic. I get that LEGO wanted to like showcase the teeth or whatever, but honestly, on the canister itself, the teeth are gray anyway, and you can also see that on the sticker. So I would have absolutely taken them sacrificing that teeth showing all the way through for an axle connection. But at the very least, something that they could have done was maybe given us an axle hole at the top instead. Obviously, it would go unused on the canister, but then if the instructions taught you how to pop this out of the canister from the inside so they don't get stolen off of store shelves, sure, right? You have to purchase it to get the piece, but if you were able to take this out from the canister lid, I really think people would have quite enjoyed that. So it's worth noting too that one of the reasons I think this is that while we're not out a crazy amount of masks because of this is 6 potential masks we could have had. Some masks like this, for example, the Zactan headpiece, would have been the second ever mask in solid dark green. Obviously, we've gotten more since then, but I think where it really shines is pieces like this. Kind of ugly, sure, but it is the only ever made Metru brown mask aside from Oniwa's, right? So we would have gotten another Metru brown mask for characters, for mucks, for your own purposes. Also, weird that this is Metru brown. Why is that? Because here's the thing. Avok is not this color. He's reddish brown, and I find it wild because Thok, the other Paraka that I'm going to show this in a minute. I'll talk about why it's on a Metru head. But, he is the other Paraka to introduce a new color to Bionicle, and it is this sort of off-white color called very light bluish gray. This piece right here is that very light bluish gray color. It's not white, so why does this retain the Metru color where this gets the Paraka color? Is that not strange? I find that baffling. Obviously, also, just overall, this is very different from Avok's final head design, right, with that wide chin and everything on it. So ultimately, this would actually look quite different from that final model, giving this one added use, in my opinion, because if you wanted to make your own Paraka, you could have with something like this. Going back to what I just showcased there for a moment, though, some of these can actually fit over Metru heads to some degree. In this case here, I have the Thok head mask, whatever you want to consider this thing, and I'm using a rubber band just stretched across these little tabs on each side here to actually hold it in place. It works out reasonably well. Obviously, some are going to work better than others, and of course, you could do the same thing with a Paraka head too, so just sliding the piece over the head, using a rubber band to connect behind here to keep it in place. Is it the most secure? No, but it's going to work for posing. It'll work for pictures and things like that. So I think ultimately that is at the very least an option. Of course, some of these heads fit better than others on specific types of heads. And so yeah, it's just absolutely baffling to me that we got 6 brand new molds from LEGO for Bionicle that were unusable, intentionally designed to be unusable. What the hell, LEGO? Like, at the very least, again, I mentioned it already, if they wanted to preserve the teeth on the front of these, then they could have gone out of their way to add an axle hole to the side. I don't think it would have ruined the aesthetic on the canister. People at this point in time, if they were fans of Bionicle, knew the Bionicle used pins and axles and things like that. So I think I would have personally found it quite endearing, but to each their own, right? And I do also find it kind of wild because some of them, at least some, these tabs on the top here are just about the right size to fit inside of an axle hole, meaning you can actually connect it to things. The only problem is that those tabs on each side are not a set distance apart, so it doesn't fit within like a Lego system, at least not that I have found. Maybe that's not true. Don't quote me on that, but I've tested. I've not found anything to fit that perfectly. However, knowing that that is an option for you, that you can actually use those top tabs as a sort of like pseudo axle connection in a way very similar to another piece I've showcased on the channel in the past, but that's not for this video. At least you can get some use out of these pieces. So, Paraka heads, Paraka masks, what do you call these pieces? Have you ever used them in your own builds? Do you happen to have the bootleg ones and think that they're really fun? I think overall they're pretty cool pieces, and they're bizarre. They've got this uniquely exclusive sort of history to Bionicle. Obviously showcasing the Paraka light up eyes that were in the top of the canister lid. Quite a neat way to add that gimmick and market those pieces, similar to what they did with the Inika weapon. Of course, that was way more fixed in place. But these, so close to being good pieces, could have been the only mask we ever got in this very light bluish gray color, but no, that's not the reality we live in, unfortunately. So that's pretty much it for this video. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe. It helps the channel out. You already know all that stuff spiel here, but of course you can let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And of course, again, check out the Discord linked in the description. Patreon's also down there if you want to help support the channel and get some perks, and I will see you all in the next one.